Hey everybody, it's Friday and we're back with Bite Size. Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Friday, the sun is shining, spring has sprung, and we're joined by another approved partner today to talk you all through their products. So please welcome Brett Sedcole to the stage. Brett, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, Chris. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for asking. No one ever asked me. That's really nice of you. COO and Head of Product at Connect. Brett, tell us a little bit about you and how you've ended up here and what product you'll be talking about today.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Brett Sedcole. I'm the COO and Head of Product at Connect. My background is in product design and user experience and human-centered design. So that's where the background comes for Connect Frontline, and that's what we do for what we provide for employees with the platform.
Perfect. And with no further ado, as if by magic, I'll click my fingers and here appears a beautiful screen. Talk us through what we're looking at here.
So this is the frontline experience of Connect. So what Connect is, if I give you a bit of an intro before we jump straight into this. So Connect is a secure, automated, instant access platform for frontline workers. So if you think SSO, like yourself, Chris, you might use Apple ID to access your tools and systems in your personal life. We provide Connect ID for frontline employees to access the tools and systems they need to do with their role in their working lives. Without needing any personal information, they don't need an Entra license or a Microsoft license or anything like that. They will claim an account and get access to all of their tools quickly and easily through the flow that I'll show you now.
Very cool.
So essentially, rather than using a personal email address or physically having to hand out credentials, a frontline user will use their personal device and they will scan a QR code like here on this poster. And then walk through 5 very simple steps. So we ask them a few bits of information to identify themselves, and then we securely send them an access code here. And then we send them their first round set of credentials, nice and securely, super simple. They then set their own unique password, and then that's it. They've created their digital identity. So that now they have a digital identity within their workforce. In this case, we're using Friday Furniture, which is our example company, but perfectly built for restaurants, hotels. We've got a lot of hotel chains on the platform using this. And then from here, they go through to what we call the Access Hub. So in a frontline worker's day-to-day role, they might have a comms platform, they might have a learning platform, rewards, expenses, different things. And what we're providing here is SSO, true SSO, like you or I have being desk-based workers. We're providing that for frontline. So from here, they can access different platforms without needing to enter a set of credentials again.
Very cool. And not losing their password, right? Which is something I'm famous for.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a big problem that IT teams have is password resets. It sounds like a really small problem, but you think about a company that's got thousands of employees, they're having to deal with password resets. It really starts to clog up their IT desks.
So, yeah, it must be crazy. What about I guess offboarding? Like, it sounds still silly, but when you lose an employee, which happens a lot in hospitality, that must get quite messy before this as well.
Yes, so absolutely. So if we jump across to the admin side of things, I can show you the IT and HR side of the process and how we manage that.
So we're looking at the back end here, are we?
Yes, so this is the admin side. So this is where IT, Ops, and HR will access the platform, but primarily it's fully automated. So you can see from the dashboard here, the blue circles at the top are where we're getting our data from. And then the platforms across the bottom here in white are the endpoint platforms. So the experience we just showed on the mobile phone, they would be the platforms that the frontline user is accessing. And then if we jump in, so essentially how Connect works is we automate access and provisioning of accounts from end to end. So companies have multiple HR systems. So in this case, we've got Sona, we've got Forth. I think all of your audience will be familiar with these 2 HR platforms. And we've also got manually added. So essentially automating the whole process with a data sync from those HR systems. When something changes in the HR system, it automatically propagates through to the end user platform. So going back to what you talked about earlier, Chris, in terms of that when they leave, you can also, when they join the business, as soon as a profile is added in your HR system, we will pick it up in Connect. We'll look at their data, so their job role, division, department, and we'll push them into whatever platform you have set up in Connect, and they'll have instant access. So no lag, you're ready on day one. You don't need to raise support tickets and say, hey, can I have Jeff set up on the LMS and someone set up on the rewards platform? They're ready to go. And then you saw on day one, they scan a QR code, they'll be up and running in 30 seconds.
I guess your partners love you, right? All the other SaaS guys must enjoy having you guys driving engagement across all the platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. A good example here is we've got one luxury hotel brand on the platform. that saw 90% activation rate within 10 working days of getting it done. So, yeah, if you put that up against industry standards, it's definitely.
Yeah, I spent my life in the industry trying to engage people. It's never that quick. So yeah, good for you.
So if we jump into just quickly how that works in terms of the mechanics. So if I click on a user profile here, you can see the user profile data all pulling through from the HR system, and this is their authentication method. So this is our SSO engine, Connect ID, and you can see which platforms this user has access to based on their role and what they're doing within the business. And from an IT perspective, you've got full audit logs and traceability from what platforms people have access to and what has changed within their profile. And then one other bit I did want to touch on was we don't like to create silos at all. So we also integrate with desk-based user accounts. So in this case, the example is Microsoft. We will provision this Microsoft user who's desk-based into those platforms as well, but they still authenticate back with their desk-based licenses. So in this case, they're authenticating with Microsoft 365. So not creating silos, but automating provisioning for all users and governing that joiners, movers, leavers process.
It's impressive. Especially, well, some of those systems you're talking about, there's a lot of archaic stuff going on, I think, or I suppose legacy stuff going on with the actual users, and there's a lot of people lost in the system.
Well, that's exactly right. You get orphaned accounts and ghost accounts and everything sitting within those different end-user platforms. Being able to have a tight control on that drives ROI for those platforms within the business. You're getting higher engagement rates. You're really getting your money's worth by getting people up and running from day one, but also making sure that they're not there when they leave the business.
Awesome.
Yeah. I guess one other side just to quickly touch on is analytics and reporting. You mentioned people within those platforms and knowing who's in there and who's got access. Having that level of reporting to be able to go in and see who's accessing it, who's using the platforms, and if there is any sort of intervention needed at a platform level, you can go in and do that based on the data that's coming through.
It's fantastic. So basically, you're like a front door for all of these different. I mean, it's not just HR tech, right? It's everything, is it?
Yeah, exactly. So we're primarily supporting IT teams from secure access. They can run this alongside their existing desk-based authentication methods, and we complement that. And it's providing that full automated flow. Like I say, taking the weight off of the IT support desk, and then from an HR perspective, really making sure that their people in the business are engaged and up and ready and running to go on the platforms and ready to do their roles.
It's amazing. And how do people get hold of you? Because I mean, I haven't seen much like this around. So we work with a lot of tech partners. When I met Regan a few months ago, it was that I was quite shocked at how simple it was. But actually, the reality was there's not a lot of it around. How do people get hold of you and have a chat?
So the easiest way is we can see the URL running across the bottom of the screen there, connectfrontline.com, or you can get in touch with me personally, brett.sedcole@connectfrontline.com. And yeah, we're more than happy to have a chat.
Amazing. Well, thank you, my friend. It's Friday. I think you deserve a pint. Is it that time of day yet? I'm not sure. We're in the morning. Getting close. And that was Connect, everybody. Also part of the Cocentric team. So if you want to check them out, they're on the marketplace at techontoast.community. You can also check them out at connectfrontline.com. And I'm sure Brett will allow you to stalk him on LinkedIn if need be, if that's where you'd like to find people. Brett, thank you very much, my friend. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Chris. You too.
Cheers.